Hi everyone, today we are going to do lesson 7, which is data types and variables. So first let's get into what is data types. Now because we are going to do different things, right, in using a programming language, so we need to work on data. So when we say we work on data, anything which is if you talk about any number or anything, it is called data, right? So there are 4 types of data which you can store in Java: numbers, decimal, true false, or 0 and 1 you can say, and characters. Now if you want to store a number, you always used byte, short, int, or long. Now why do we have 4 keywords just for a number data type? It depends on the memory location. So if suppose you want to store a value 100, then you will use byte, because so if you want to store a larger number than 100, maybe you want to store 5000, then you will use short. But if you want to use a number which is greater than 35,000, then you will use int, and the same logic goes for long. So it all depends on memory location. Now how does, if you're doing a smaller program, it doesn't really matter that you use int, byte, or short depending upon your usage of the variable. But if you're doing a bigger program, then you might run out of memory. So that's why we have a different classification for depending upon the memory type. So decimal, we have float and double. So if you have a number with decimal places as 6 to 7, you can use float. But if you have fractional numbers which stores more than that, like more than 7 decimal places, then you should go for double. Boolean is for true and false if you just want to use that toggle. Character, so if you want to store A or just B, that is when you use character. So if you want to store the whole your name, suppose if I want to store Sakshi, that's a group of characters. In that case, I have a string class in Java. It is not a data type, so it's a whole class, because it you can use a lot of functions with string, and that's why it is a class. So that we'll do separately, so we'll not bunch that the string class here. And this is all about data types. Now what is a variable? A variable is nothing but a temporary location. Now so if you know that you want to use some data, then you want to store it in the memory location, so you need to give that memory location a name. That name is called a variable. How do you declare a variable? You declare a variable by giving the data type and the variable name and a semicolon. Now how will you decide what variable name to give? Usually we try to give, suppose I'm doing sum of 2 numbers, so I will, for the 2 numbers for which I'm going to calculate the sum, I'm going to give it number 1, number 2, and then I will have a sum variable. So depending upon what operations you are doing, you decide what name you want to give to that function. But there are certain rules to declare. When you start declaring variables, you need to follow some rules, which is it can contain letter, digit. It cannot contain all the special characters we have. It can only contain underscore and dollar sign. Now it should not start with a digit. So suppose I am trying to declare a variable called Sakshi 9 Koli. I can do that because I have 9 in between the letters. But if I try to do 9 Sakshi Koli, that won't be possible. So that we have to take care. It is case sensitive, which means if you define a variable in uppercase and lowercase, they both are different variable names for Java. You should not use any reserve word like public static, because we know that we are using that for a particular purpose. So your keyword should not have these words. Now what we are going to do is we are going to do a simple exercise in which we will declare two variables and print the sum of those variables. So let's get on to Eclipse and first create a new Java class. So if you don't know from where this hello world and this package came in, please go to lesson 5 and make sure you go through all the steps. Now we can create a new class as new Java class, and we can say sum of two numbers, and we'll say we need public static void main because we don't want to create an object at this point. So this is how the new class will look like, and you will see in the package explorer that a new class has been added. Now we said we want to declare two variables, so the first thing we'll do is declare two variables, which is number 1 and number 2. So how do we declare a variable? I know I'm doing numbers, so int num1 comma num2, and then I'll declare a third variable for the sum. Now this is how you declare variables. You can do it on different lines as well, but you can do it on the same line as well. Currently it is showing you a warning because we have a local variable but we haven't used it. That's why, so don't worry about that. Now once you start initializing, so num1 is equal to 10, num2 is equal to 20, and see, if I don't put a semicolon, it's going to show me an error. So semicolon, then we have sum is equal to num1 plus num2. Then we are going to print this sum. So system dot out dot println. So I'm just gonna make a good message as well. The sum of two numbers is plus sum. Now if I just do, let me run this program first and then we'll see. So the sum of two numbers should be 30. So that's correct. Now why I have used this plus operator here? Plus is an addition operator. It is just adding two numbers because I have used both the integers. But if you use a string and a number, this works as a concatenation operator. So right now it is taking this as a string and it is concatenating and just printing what it has. So suppose I have sum here. So instead of doing that, I do sum here. So I don't add this thing. So what it's going to do is it's going to print sum directly. So if you want to print directly anything, you will add it in double quotes. But if you want to print the value of a variable, then you will put it with a plus operator. So I can change this to this as well to make it more descriptive. So instead of two numbers, I can say the sum of double quotes num1 and, so I want you to play with SOPs, system.out.println, we call it SOPs as well. So I want you to play with it so that you understand completely how this thing works. So sum of two numbers, this, and I'm going to put num2 as well. Num2, right? So see, it's going to print. So you can print it this way, or this is more clear, right? So even if you change this value here, it's going to change. So see, So this is the end of this lesson. Thank you so much. See you next time.